Well, morning guys. I'm going to put this in primer today, and I'm just taking it one piece at a time. I did this side here. I cleaned up all the corner of this. I've got to put a little more filler here, flood that so I'm not hitting any metal. A little more work right here to the door, right there. This line's good. This line here, I've cleaned this all up. Got a little more work right in here. I welded up this crack place here on the fender, and I started working on this tailpiece across here. I got to get that all nice and straight on the bottom. So I'm just doing this one panel at a time, and try to get it the best I can. Take my time hand sanding all the corners, and of course I found some more up in here in this door. And little I got to grind metal out. A little more work right here on this gap. It's much easier to do it now because it'll be sticking in Bondo, and I won't be trying to stick Bondo to primer. It's okay for filling, but for strength it needs to be Bondo to Bondo. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just do this one panel at a time, show you what I did, move on to the next. Well, going over the little details and stuff, I decided I didn't like this gap in the door, so I shoved a bunch of spreaders in there and fill that one up. I'll move them down here and fill this bottom one up. It may take me all day to fix the little details, but I mean, it's a temptation to rush it into primer so it'll look good. But if there's some place that needs Bondo, like here, this is getting real straight now. I put a couple layers on it. It's much better to put Bondo on top of Bondo, not Bondo on top of primer. So I might as well just bite the bullet, just go around one panel at a time, get it ready for paint. See, I got quite a bit of hand work to do up in here just to get this door straight. I did fix the bottom of it down there. So we'll just keep pressing on, doing what we can. Now, I let this harden good, pull my spreaders off. This feels like glass, so it's really nice. I'll just have to fill it a little bit in these corners to get it good and straight. I'm going to go up in here with a board sander and knock it down a little and knock off this outside edge, and then we'll see what it looks like. Yeah, that's much better. Just a little over 1/8 of an inch, about the same as it is on top. It looks good. So now I'll do the same thing down here, mostly right here in this middle section. That's where the gap's bad. It gets pretty good down into here. But I'll do the same trick. I'll put my Bond those spreaders in here, tape them down, and then fill it up. And press on when I get it taped. Well, again, taking a lot more time than I thought. I got this gore gap almost perfectly straight, all the way down to about here somewhere, and it's hitting right in this area and over in this area. So this whole section here is low. I could, like I sand both sides, it'd be fine. It's real close across there, maybe 32nd of an inch. But when you go in here and you start really looking at it close, I'm not trying to get it close enough. I'm trying to get it as perfect as I can. So that means I'm going to have to cover this whole section here with filler and let it harden. Once it gets pretty well, tacks up a little, I'll cut that gap back in it and then let it harden, and I'll board set this whole thing. I'd like to get all of this. You can see in here where it's dark, that's all low. His sander's not even touching it. So let me get this section straight and we'll move on. Well, there's that area straight. The gap kind of looks big out here because it's dark inside the gap, but it's pretty good and straight. It looks big because I've got it, these edges are feathered just a little bit. This one here is still pretty sharp. I'll just round that off just a little. And the metal is pretty straight. Any yeah, that's pretty good. But overall, looks real good. I'm maybe a 1/16 of an inch off. Bottom to top. It's quite a bit straighter than it was. I can't do a whole lot more with it because of just the way the metal in the door is. But I filled this from here to way over here, and it's all straight across there. Got a little high right here in the bottom. It's starting to get a high here. But that's basically real good. And I went over here to this rear of the bumper. Had a joint right here. You can see there where it's a little shiny. And I was going to try to keep that one side to the other, though I think I welded it in there. So I just decided to make this smooth all the way across, and that's what I did. I filled that one up. That was a pretty good one there. I filled that one up, and looks like I got a few highs that need to be dollied down a little. One of them's here where the hole was. The other hole's right here. It's a little low, but this round rocker panel here is pretty straight right now. A little more Bondo on it. I got to work on this trunk surface edge right here. It's not real good yet. It's pretty close, but this fender, I've worked on it on and off. It's pretty good. And this door and stuff is all ready. But it just took me quite a while on these two panels and the door, because I'm looking at it carefully now and fixing stuff I know I'm going to have to fix. It's just going to be horrible in primer, and I might as well make it right now. So I may or may not get to primer today, probably won't, because once I mix it up, it's epoxy. Either I try to do little batches and squirt it all out, or mix up, you know, enough to do most of the car with. I'd rather have car left to finish and run out of paint than I would finish up the car and not have enough paint. But this front part's pretty good. Maybe just a little tweaking on it. I got quite a bit more to do up here in the front. Got hot today. Not breathing too good. So I'm moving a little slow. But I'll just press on and continue getting this thing ready for primer. Well, I have put some serious attention on this tailpiece. Had a lot of high spots in it. It wasn't very straight. So what I tried to do here was just fill up this bottom piece. I had a spot right here where the weld wasn't that good, and a little piece of it was sticking out, and it's real thin right there, so I just knocked it in so I can get a good spread of Bondo across here. This is a fairly thin coat. It's just to try to fill up most of the lows. I'll still have 2 or 3 little highs in it, and I'll let this dry a little bit, and then I'll knock it off with some 40 grit, and hopefully one more coat will take care of this. Well, there's the back. It's all covered. Every space that was high is filled. I've still got some pretty rough edges right in here particularly, but no more dark spots, so I'll have to sand that down. I'll probably get a few, but basically that's what I'm going to have to do to the whole car. You can see over here there are just a few high spots, dark spots, a few right up in there, but this is pretty good. I really don't have a lot, a little bit right in here, but basically I can't have any dark spots. These are all high, so everywhere that you see is dark, I got to cover it with Bondo, sand it down until I just see little tiny high spots. Like this one, it could use a little bit of help. Same with this hood. This is actually the only good panel on it. There's no high spots in it. but it just takes time to do that, and usually it don't take a lot of Bondo, but most of it gets sanded off. But this here I think is gonna be pretty good. One more coat, and I think I really want to make this back spot here, make it perfect. I really want it to be perfectly smooth and shiny and no dents or waves. Not so much care about the trunk, but this part, I don't know why, I just want to do it really good. The rest of it's going to be kind of normal. These I want to get them, well, this whole front cowl here, I really want to get it perfect. I doubt if I'll be able to get that hood perfect, but it is a long straight shot, so I'd like to get it as close to perfect as I can. It's got a big old long stripe in there, and then the way I carried it out into the car, it's about 5 feet long. Yeah, 5 foot long hood. That's what it looks like, you know. A 1.5 foot of cowl and 4.5 foot of hood. That's gonna look funny. And this middle piece is all gonna be burgundy. These two side pieces will be burgundy, same as all the rest of the top. And then the flat panels will be dark blue like the rest of the car. I thought about how I would paint this, whether I'd paint the entire top burgundy, but blue's got to show up somewhere, and it's not much of a sweep of the eye to carry on the blue of the car. So anyway, it'll be interesting. I might paint it blue and not like it and paint the whole thing burgundy. Well, there's that finished. Got all the highs out of it. It's straight all the way across there. Got a little too much right down in that corner. I'm not going to take a board sander to this anymore because it cuts so much. My high is right down in next to the corner. So this is all pretty straight. I need on that very last couple inches, that bottom piece, I need a little more fill on it. But all the dark stuff's gone out of here. I cleaned this edge up good here. This is where I repaired that broken part. I'll put a good coat across there, and do something about this fender lip. I sanded it pretty good. I don't know whether I can fill it or not. I'll put a fine coat across this right here, and hand sand that. Of course, that board sander is just goes right through anything with that 40 grit on it. But I'll get all this black stuff covered up, little holes filled. I'll just hand sand it. Probably do the same out there on the door. But this trunk is straight. It looks straight, but I know it's straight because I filed it all down with that board sander. I put a little bit of my Bondo up in here, just a thin layer to clean that up. Well, hopefully I'll get it primered tomorrow. Again, it's towards the end of the day, getting tired. A lot of work goes into this that you don't really think about. I mean, it looked really good before, you know, from 10 feet. But you get up close to it with glasses on and you start seeing all kinds of little stuff in it. And it's all got to come out. The more I do now, the less I'll have to do later. You can get this stuff in Bondo where you think it's perfect, throw a primer on it, and maybe another day picking up little stuff in it. Anyway, guys, didn't show you much more here, just some body work. But hope you like it. If you do, subscribe, tell a friend, and we really appreciate your support. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.